Meet with lawmakers about her brother. Time now for your weekend forecast as we look live at Cadillac Square in downtown Detroit. Lots of folks lined up there at the food trucks. Hopefully they're trying to get ice cream or something cold to drink because it's so warm out, Hallie.
I can't even fathom it. Just walking from the parking lot into the building, I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
I might just have to put my bag down and make a run for it.
It's going to have to hide in the air conditioning today.
But yeah, those folks, I mean, I imagine they're going to grab their lunch and go back into an air-conditioned office maybe, just try to stay safe. We know that some of us are better equipped at dealing with it than others, but we do have the heat advisory south of M59 till 10 p.m. tonight. We're talking about a heat index in the mid to upper 90s. So yes, it could be closing in on 100 degrees in a few spots. Now air quality alert today and tomorrow. And we're looking at those occasional storms like we had yesterday. Of course, we had the round of severe weather. We're in a marginal risk today, which means that one or two of those storms could be strong to severe that do develop. 74 our low this morning. That is tough, especially with the high humidity. 62 is what we average, and we average 81 for a high. Now 97 is a record high back in 1953. We're not going to get to 97, but we're likely going to get to the upper 80s to around 90. We're almost there in Detroit. 87 degrees right now, in fact, a very high dew point and an east wind not giving much relief, only a 3-mile-per-hour wind. It's 85 in Ann Arbor. It's 90 right now in Adrian. Feels like 98, so there it is. Those are those upper 90s with the heat index. Same for Monroe, 89 and 98. Your temperature and then, of course, your heat index. And we're looking at 82 in Pontiac. 86 is how it feels, and then it does get a little cooler outside of that advisory to the north of the thumb, but still high humidity, high dew points. Our dew points are in the low 70s, and we look at a scale. Comfortable is anything below 60, and then we're looking at 60s. You start to feel the humidity. It is just miserable for most of us when we get into the upper 60s to low 70s, and that's what we're seeing. So we have the fuel for the storms, we have the heat, the humidity, and then we need a trigger. And we do have a stationary boundary along lower Michigan, so that would be our trigger that we need to spark some of these as we get into the afternoon. You can see most of that activity right now is off to our north at this point, but that marginal risk does include all of us up to just south of Lapeer and near and south of Port Huron. But again, that is for an isolated severe to strong storm. And there's that stationary boundary. So near and south of that boundary, all the heat advisories and of course heat warnings, and then some relief to the north and west of that boundary. We're at 64 degrees in Minneapolis, even 78 with some storms around Chicago. And of course, we're well into the 80s. So we look at our hourly forecast and we're looking at temperatures upper 80s to around 90. Of course, any storm will bring down the temperature, but not the humidity. And the threats we're looking at today would be, of course, those winds, isolated wind gusts. If the storm does develop and become severe, 60-mile-per-hour winds or higher, and then some flash flooding concerns because of the atmosphere is just saturated. Hail can't rule out even a quick tornado, but those are on the lower end. So hour by hour forecast shows this is 1:30 and we're already starting to see these kind of impulse type storms developing, continuing at times into the afternoon and evening. Should be done by 8 or 9 o'clock as far as that threat for storms. Pretty quiet overnight into tomorrow morning. This is 4 o'clock on Friday, so after 2. Again, scattered showers and storms. We're not out of this pattern even as we go into Friday. Now, what's interesting is the front that comes through. Look at that line of storms late Saturday. And if they hold together, we'll be watching it. But right now, forecasts are saying it's the timing at night that may not trigger strong storms. But we're going to have to watch that because it is quite dynamic. Saturday night into Sunday, and then relative break in the heat, at least closer to average. We're in the mid 80s by Monday.
All right, thanks, Hallie.